Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Makai. I'm here to tell you why talking to yourself is the new meta. So, some background on this. People often consider Obsidian to be like a second brain, which is, I think is true. So, if you go over here, you can see my little graph here. All these nodes, I mean, they kind of remind you of like neurons in a brain, right? One thing I've found using Obsidian for a little bit now is that keyword searching sucks. If you search through your notes using keyword search, it brings up like all this garbage that you don't want because it just tries to match whatever word. Like it'll literally bring up, if you type in a word, brings up literally every file that has that word in it, and it's like that paired through sifting through notes. So you have to sift through notes with keyword search most of the time anyway. I am guilty of not really using the notes that I take a lot for like classes and stuff. I don't go back through all of my notes very often just because it's so time consuming. Why would I do that when I can just look at the slides and review the slides, right? And lastly, I did this because it's just interesting to see all these systems working together. You kind of get this thing where it's like you're utilizing multiple LLMs to essentially talk to yourself. So now onto the tech stack. I chose as my interface for the LLMs to be LM Studio. It's just super easy to set up. And within LM Studio is the Big RAG plugin, which, let's get to that here. The Big RAG plugin allows you to just set a directory. So there is a RAG plugin already built in LM Studio, but it's mostly for just uploading single files into the chat and then having it look through and index those files. But this Big RAG, you can set a whole directory, and you can use kind of like a custom embedding model, which we'll get to that later. Now on to models. So for my preferred model, I really like Gemma 4. And for this, you don't need a super powerful LLM at all, because what it's just doing is looking through the index that your embedding model made for you. So I chose Google Gemma 4. My computer is not powerful at all. It's not made for AI. I know they make laptops that are for AI, and mine is not one of those. But you can see here, what do my notes say about DNS and computer networking? I was taking a computer networking class a while ago, and I took a lot of notes on stuff, and I never really used them since then, other than studying for exams. But here we go. I mean, thought for a minute and 28, so if you don't mind waiting like a little bit, you can see what files it all went through. Initially, it will index your files, so it indexed 305 files and put them into a vector store. So you can see here, yeah, just the notes I took on DNS, and it does like kind of change it a little bit. So if you have like very concise notes where it's literally just labeling out the information, it will put it into like a slightly more readable format, I found, which is very nice. So that's Gemma 4 for you. Now let's get on to Nomic Embed. This is going to be your embedding model, and you define that right here. So your embedding model, that's literally what reads through all of your files, indexes them into the vector store, and allows the LLM like Gemma to look through it. Now, I do believe Google has embedding model. It's called Embedding Gemma. It's awesome. I've used that at work, and it works very good. So both Nomic Embed and Embedding Gemma are two good ones. The only thing you have to look out for is that if your notes were indexed with a certain embedding model, and you want to go back and use those vector stores again, you do need to use the same embedding model on that new session that you created. Now, for the different ways to use it, I prefer local, just because, you know, I don't like the sort of like moral implications of a data center. I don't like running LLMs off data centers because there's just a whole like slew of problems with data centers, and so I definitely prefer to do it locally. I think most people should be doing it locally, and like I said earlier, you don't need a powerful computer to do this at all, because it's basically just searching. I mean, That's all it is. It's called semantic searching when you're using a RAG, a retrieval augmented generation model. So yeah, I just prefer to do it locally. You could totally do it on a home server too, which, you know, there's just be a computer that you set up as a home server. Like at work, I have it go through Olama, my Olama server at work, which is pretty sweet. And the last way is the cloud. So through the data center, like I was saying, you could do that. It would probably be faster, but again, I'm just sort of like conscious of those moral implications. I know it. To end my video, a little warning. There is something called a closed loop RAG. So while you were watching this video, something you might have been thinking about was, well, what if I tell the LLM to update information for me? I've seen people do that. I think notably Eric Resu, I think that's his name, he had sort of a closed loop RAG setup with Claude, and that's just not a good idea because LLMs, they like to hallucinate. So if they're generating new information, they're most likely going to hallucinate, and that creates bad data in your RAG. So you don't want that. You don't want it to kind of like feed into itself, and then it's just like this feedback loop of bad data. So that's that. Now I would actually like to show you guys this in action here. So you can see here I got Hotline Bling by Drake. And this file has not been indexed yet, so let's see. What are the lyrics to Hotline Bling by Drake? So here we go. Here's Hotline Bling by Drake. The lyrics. It's just grabbing it. Anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, I think, you know, talking to yourself is the new meta in 2026. You can really just interact with your notes in such a different way because of how far AI has advanced, and you know, this is super accurate because it is just getting the information from your Obsidian notes or whatever. I mean, you can feed it PDFs, DocX, anything. And anyway, at the end of the day, I'm just a guy yapping in his basement, and you know, I just like to talk about tech. So do whatever you think is best. If you want a closed loop RAG and you find a way to make it good, by all means do that, and actually hit me up because that would be pretty sick. I would like to take a look at that. Anyway, you guys have a good day. Goodbye.